Hi everyone, thanks for joining us. We thought it would be good to get a few of us together to check in and see how the last 12 months have been. It's been a really tough year for everyone, and we thought it might be helpful to hear other people's experiences and also see what they've done to help manage it over the last year. I'm sure a lot of you all follow these guys, but in case you haven't, if we can all go around and introduce ourselves, starting off with Callum.
I'm Callum, Callum Russell. I'm from Northern Ireland. I'm 24 and I'm a carpenter.
Okay, Kev.
My name is Kevin Sharkey. I am 41 years of age, the elder lemon of this group. My tag on Instagram is SharkTech979. I'm a carpenter for the last 18 years. Been involved in extensions, renovations, roofing, bits and bobs like that.
Cool. Steve?
I'm Steve, that chippy Steve on Instagram. I'm 834 years old from Leicester, England. Live and breathe the job really and love it. It's great crack, different thing every day. Brilliant.
Cool. And Dave?
I'm Dave. I am 35 years old on my birth certificate. I'm 12 years old in my head. I am Dave the carpenter. I love everything involving around woodwork. And yeah, listen in.
Cool. So if we just start off just generally, how's the last year been for you all? Steve, do you want to start us off?
Yeah, it's been enormously challenging. Huge change for me personally, professionally. This time last year, I was standing in a friend's garden. She's a nurse. We were talking about this pandemic. Is it dangerous? What could happen? I've heard this, I've heard that, and nobody really knew. And now I don't live in the same country. Everything's changed. I work in a different manner. I've changed my outlook, the type of work I do, everything really. But it's all been beneficial. I've made sure to always essentially look after number one and take care of myself and my mental health and my physical health as well in those 12 months.
Okay, cool. Thanks for sharing that. Kev?
Yeah, it's been a lot of ups and downs. Obviously, my wife has lost probably 95% of her work for the last year. So financially, it's been kind of tough. There's been 3 lockdowns over here in Ireland, and I've been out of work for 2 of them. Yeah, look, it is what it is. I try and look on the bright side of life and do what I can for others. Enjoy the time with my kids, enjoy the time with my wife, try and get bits and bobs done around the house. But, you know, it's the same for everyone. We're all in the same boat. So, I mean, you just have to try and get on with it, I suppose, and look at the positives as opposed to the negatives.
Yeah. Dave?
The last year, from obviously before the pandemic kicked in, we were all good to go. We've had a new arrival in the family, baby Alfie, which was a bizarre experience in itself. Having a child during the pandemic, having to wear the mask and all the not being able to go to the scans and all that sort of stuff. Work-wise, I had 2 weeks off when the pandemic kicked in, but thankfully the site I was working on had ordered a load of materials, so I was pretty decent, to be fair, in terms of the work side of stuff. Yeah, that's basically that. It's been a challenge in respect to you're consciously thinking that maybe something's going to happen, maybe there's going to be a dip in the market and all the trades are going to dry up and there's going to be no work or anything like that. But thankfully, from what it seems, from what I see on Instagram, the majority of people have done quite well out of it. So yeah, long may it continue.
Callum, how's it been for you?
Yeah, as everyone has already sort of touched on, it's been a bit weird, but it's been the same for everybody, especially in the construction industry. I was off when it hit. I was off for 5 weeks, but in that 5 weeks, I mean, I spent great quality time with the family. Obviously, Ethan's only just turned 1. Well, he's turning 2, but he was still young. So I brought him out for a walk every day. The weather was brilliant. You know, the sun was splitting the sky. It was good. The only sort of thing that would have been playing on my mind back then was what way is the government going to treat self-employed, because it was all uncertain. You know, we didn't know what was going to happen or what we were going to do for money as such. You know, and we had just recently got our mortgage as well, and then it hit. So we were quite lucky that way. But you know, after the 5 weeks, got back into work, was dead on then, and haven't stopped since. What else really? Got a new van. I needed a new van. I needed a bigger van. I didn't know if it was maybe the best idea at the time, given the situation. But I mean, it seems to be working out all right, and long may it continue, as Dave said.
Yeah, it seems like it's been kind of ups and downs throughout
Yeah.
last year or so for, you know, for all of you. If you could like pinpoint what has been, you know, the most positive and the kind of like the lowest point in the last year, what would you kind of say that would be? Steve, starting with you.
Highs and lows, blimey. There's been a few. It's been like the other guys touched on. It's just been a roller coaster, and I think I'm not the only one. I've turned as many lows into highs as I possibly can. It's all about how you perceive it. It's about how many punches you can take and keep getting up. An old boy I used to work with used to say, you've only got to get up once, only one more time, then you get knocked down. So you've only ever got to get up once. And it really stuck with me. And I could sit and feel sorry for myself over everything that's changed for me in my personal life over the past year, but I'm not going to. You know, I take ownership of mistakes I made, and I take responsibility for them, but I'm not going to dwell on it. I'm not going to keep looking at the past. It's like driving a car and staring at the rearview mirror. You're going to crash. You need to just occasionally glance at it to remind yourself a little bit. So so there's that. And high points, getting back for the first time in a lot of years on a guitar, on a mountain bike, a motorbike, getting my own place in the middle of a pandemic. Just everything's gone really well, and setting up my own business, sort of proper limited business, which is still in its infancy, but hopefully that can grow and grow, and making a lot of new contacts. So furthering my career and myself, and challenging myself every day to become a better person.
Cool, that's awesome. Kev?
Lots of highs, lots of lows. I don't know if my lowest point was the first lockdown and worrying about finances. Like, I wasn't sure what way it was going to work. We bought a house with my mother-in-law 2 years ago. So she has a little annex on the side. I've been renovating the whole place as we're going along. So for that end of it, the lockdown's been amazing because I've gotten so much done. But financially, it's all been done on a shoestring. I didn't want to put her at risk by working in close contact with anyone, just in case, because obviously, you know, even if we're all going out and COVID comes into the house, it's going to be in your head. I'm about to bring that back there. My mother-in-law's died, blah blah blah. I didn't want to be that man. So finances and stuff, as I said already, like, my wife's a freelance hairstylist, so she does mostly weddings, and obviously weddings have been cancelled, so she's lost about 95% of her work. She does a bit of TV work as well, so she got to do that because that's seen as essential services. So it's really hard to pinpoint the low point. One of them would definitely be, I'm not going to get to see my mum. She lives in Greece. She moved over there with my dad, and they moved back. My dad got sick. When my dad died, my mum moved back over. So she's been over there about 5 years now, back over there. And we didn't get to go to last summer because we bought the house. She was home for Christmas, and then we were supposed to go in June last year, and we didn't get to go. And she didn't get to come home for Christmas, and now we're not going to get to go in June. So I'm unsure. I could be like 2 years without seeing my mum. So that's quite low. But again, high points, time with kids. You know, I got to do so much in the house that would have taken me months of weekends. I did them in like over a week. Not that I'm a bit of a procrastinator, so I could have done it in a shorter time. But you know, they're the high points. Spend time with the kids, spend time with my wife, getting stuff done around the house, making it look like a home. You know.
Oh, cool. Dave, what about you?
Low points. There's been a fair few low points. On a personal level, certain things going on in the family. High points, I try and focus on the high points. was obviously Alfie being born. That was a blessing in itself. Other high points, like they both alluded to, was getting to spend time at home with family and stuff like that. Stuff that you tend to take for granted on the weekends and stuff like that, but to have that time to spend time with the people, the reason you go to work is to provide for these people who you are responsible for, and it's an incredible feeling to be able to spend that time that you wouldn't normally get with them. Other highs, just the fact that I'm still breathing. I think that's a high in itself, because there's a lot less fortunate than us, because we're all sat here now.
True.
Yeah. What about you, Callum?
Yeah, mostly I'll focus on the highs as well. Having a great partner in Ellen, like, you know, she does a great job with Ethan at the minute, because she's actually not in work because of the whole pandemic, and you know, she's at home all day, every day, has a raging 2-year-old pretty much. So, you know, that's not easy. But she's just been a rock, you know. She's been great. And obviously the surrounding family as well have always been there to do whatever you needed or give a helping hand. But like as Steve said as well, like, you know, even getting out to work sort of, it gives you a bit of a pick me up, because you're not stuck in the house, you're not doing things, you know, that maybe you don't actually want to do, you're procrastinating or whatever. You're getting out, you do your day's work, you're coming home, it's sort of not really different. But yeah, it's mostly doing that sort of thing just keeps me sweet, and as long as I have my routine, I'll be fine. But yeah, listening to good music and going for nice walks and stuff like that, and because you can, and not really at the minute because of the weather, but other than that, yeah, I'm pretty good.
That was kind of what I was going to ask you guys about next, really, was, you know, what have you found helpful in dealing with everything in the last year? So obviously kind of said a few things there. There, you know, things that have helped you kind of focus, like stress relief, exercise, whatever it might be. Steve, what about for yourself?
Exercise, definitely. I've always been into mountain biking since I was 2, or biking, 2 wheels, push bike, anything. And when I got back, a friend of mine just threw a bike at me and said, come out. And I've not been out for so long. So getting back into do a bit of exercise was great. The summer was fabulous, going out for walks around the places I grew up. That was really good. Really enjoyed it. And having structure in my day-to-day routine as well, I find very helpful. Just helps me process everything. I write myself lists, and I get up and I do certain things at certain times for no other reason than I have control over that. I need to have an ordered, controlled day. And anytime I'm struggling, I've now learned to put my hand up and speak out and ask my friend, call my mum, my brother. I've got family, I've got friends, these guys as well. There's an enormous group chat, which has been a really good support. I don't think these guys understand how much it's helped me personally, just with a bit of crack. It's not always about whinging and moaning, just with a bit of crack and a bit of giggles and taking the mick out of each other. And it's been great. And it's been, you know, put your hand up when you need help and go out and get some fresh air. That's fundamentally the two sort of biggest things that have changed everything, really, and turned this awful thing that's going on for us into somewhat of a positive, really, for me.
Yeah, cool. That's awesome. What about for you, Dave?
In terms of dealing with stuff, it's kind of just spending time with the family. As these guys know, I've got quite a large family, and I do enjoy. I don't tend to work weekends because weekends are family time. I know we're kind of limited as to what we can do right now, but we can still be going for walks. When the weather was better, we went for picnics and stuff like that. The other thing Steve touched on it was the group that we started. This was just before the first lockdown. We had a group going on Instagram, a group chat, but we decided to put it on a WhatsApp because it's far more accessible for everyone. And I feel like that has been a saving grace for every single member of the group, because
100%.
you can't go and see your friends, you can't go and spend time with them, you can't talk about stuff that's putting you down and stuff like that. And like Steve said, it's not about having a bitch and a whinge and all that sort of stuff. It's more along the lines of the fact that everything's normalized. We have a laugh. We just bounce off each other. I mean, God ever forbid we all got together one day. It's just going to be absolute carnage, but it'll be a right laugh. But yeah, the lads in that group are all just shit up. The dealing with it. The other thing as well is ploughing yourself into your work to improve on your quality and your end product in terms of what looks good for the gram.
Post your mistakes.
Cool. That's awesome about the group that you guys have set up. I think that's awesome that you haven't even met each other previously to chatting on Instagram, and you've all got in contact and connected, and you've got each other's numbers and you chat and just check in. I think that's awesome. That's really cool. Have you got different coping mechanisms, Kev?
So like Steve, I hadn't mountain biked in probably, I don't know, 2 or 3 years anyway. So in the middle of summer, I picked up a secondhand bike, and I got back on the mountain bike, and it was amazing. Like just getting out into I'm lucky enough that I live South County Dublin, so I'm kind of 10 minutes away from the mountains, 10 minutes from the sea, probably 20 minutes away from Dublin city centre. So I can jump in my van, throw the bike in the back. I can be in the mountains in 10 minutes. I can be on my bike, do an hour spin, jump back in the van, and I'm home in under 2 hours, you know. I also do a bit of carving. It's something my mother-in-law got me into. She got me a carving course with a place in Wicklow, about 20 minutes away, drive away. I started carving up there. I'm not very good, but it's just nice to switch off for a little while, make some wood chips, try and be a little bit creative. Like it works for me. I don't know, could work for others. I just think it's a very relaxing thing to do. I haven't done enough of it lately. I haven't done enough mountain biking. I've been kind of stuck into the house, but I'm definitely going to get back to those two things over the next few weeks anyway.
Cool. Oh, that's awesome. Was there any other things, Callum? You kind of covered off a lot of them beforehand, but were there any other things that are particularly helpful for you at all?
Yeah, well, pretty much the fact that, you know, Dave touched on it, that it was normal. As soon as we made that group chat, it was just the banter you have with your own normal, like your say your school friends or something, or your friends that you've been friends with in your hometown or whatever. But like, it's just always a good crack. It's always there's no harshness in it or nothing like that. It's always just good banter. It's good to come on, have a laugh. And I feel like just having I seem like I've always had a happy-go-lucky attitude, and I've just sort of always stuck by that. And I feel like it's, sort of helped me as well. But pretty much most of the things the guy said, it's been pretty good.
I think maybe some people might not find it as easy as you guys have with your connection, and find it as easy to ask for support. If someone was kind of looking to reach out and get some advice or support in the first place, what would you say was a good way for them to kind of start on that, do you think? Steve, have you got any kind of suggestions?
It's a very, very individual and personal thing to ask for help, depending on what it's about, whether it's your own personal anxieties or depression, alcoholism, addiction. There's many different reasons that you would go actively seeking help. But if you're really nervous or worried about being judged because you're asking for help, then speak to a stranger. DM somebody on Instagram who may be in the same profession as you. My DMs are always open. DM me, DM Dave, Kev, Callum, anyone. DM a random person whose stories you might always enjoy, because trust me, they will help you. I know on sites there's a lot of this machismo, and there's a lot of swearing, there's a lot of harsh banter and harsh language and all that, which sometimes on a day-to-day, sometimes it gets to me, sometimes it doesn't, and it's how you feel on the day. So don't always take it to heart. It is just really banter. But if something ever does get you down, do not be afraid to speak up. If you can't bring yourself at first to speak to a friend, family member, speaking to a stranger, because they'll have a very balanced view. They won't, if you go to a stranger and say, I'm upset because X, Y, Z, this stranger doesn't know another person or the reason. So they're just going to go, okay, tell me what's going on. You can explain it to them and they can take as objective a view as they can and just help with support and are you okay? So just speak up, flag it up, and don't be ashamed to either. That's one thing we've all learned in this group chat, I think, that we can message each other and say, I mean, I was quiet in it for a couple of days and Kev messaged personally and said, are you okay? And Dave too, they're both great at checking in on people that are missing. Callum too, he's checked in on another guy that was in there. And it's just really nice that we do normalize the it's okay to not be okay kind of thing. It becomes part of daily parlance rather than stigma that, and it's easy through the phone screen, but you need to do it in person as well if you possibly can. That would be my sort of advice.
Yeah. And just to open up to you guys, Callum, Kev, Dave, are there any other kind of suggestions that you'd have for ways for people to ask out for help the first time if they haven't before and they're unsure how to go about it?
I think you need to kind of look after your mates. Ask the next question. Make sure you're getting in touch with them. Don't just say, all right, and they say, yeah, say how are things going. Just make sure you ask that next question, because if you try and expand the conversation to more than just, all right, yeah, you have to just ask that next question to make them open up slightly, I think. I did a thing called the Speakeasy with Movember. It was an invite thing. They're still doing them. They're doing them online, and it's just how to look out for your mates, basically. It was really good, and if anyone gets a chance, I think they should do it. But there was maybe 60 people in the room, and they split us all up into groups. So we had like a minute conversation with some dude I'd never met, two dudes I'd never met, and we had to ask them as many questions as we can and find out as much as we could about them. And what that did was just give you more of an insight into how to get around chatting to your mates, basically, like checking on them. Like, unfortunately, we personally have lost two people to suicide in the last couple of years, family members, my uncle Brendan and Sheen's cousin Reese. And you're always going to think, oh, what have I? But no one copped it. No one knew. Maybe they just weren't asking the right questions. And I truly believe that if we as people get rid of that stigma and make sure that people find know it's okay to be not okay, ask that next question, check on your friends. I think it'll help enormously. Like, it's not gonna help everyone, but even if you get one person,
Yeah, that's awesome. Maybe we'll get some details on what that speakeasy is about and we can post it underneath this, and then if anyone wants to participate in future, that sounds like a really cool idea. I
think we're doing them online at the moment, Lucy, so there's no social interaction needed even, so
okay. Oh, that's cool. Callum, Dave, did you have anything to kind of add to that? Or
I think Steve and Kev both hit the nail on the head in terms of reach out. I mean, I'm a sucker for it. I'll talk shit all day long. If someone wants to talk to me about nothing, I'll talk to them about it. I don't get a lot of work done because I'm too busy messaging people. But you can always hit any of us up on here. There's a gang of lads I know, and even if you've got issues with work, we can all point you in the right direction. We can all say, oh, go and speak to Steve if you want to know about roofs, or go and speak to Callum if you want to know about Diamondback tool belts. Everyone's got their own little niche, and we all know what everyone's superpower is, if you like. I think just don't suffer in silence, because it's just not worth it. I mean, like Kev said, we've all been there with issues with people close to us who have problems and are still having problems. Who, you know, it is what it is. But we've just all got to. It's a time for everyone to pull together, I think, rather than alienate people.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. I mean, one thing that you kind of touched on as well across the different things that you said is what the perception is of mental health specifically in the construction industry. There is still quite a stigma, and I think that there needs to be work on every platform to try and break that down, that stigma. I mean, I don't know if you guys have got any particular thoughts on that. Steve, you're nodding just then. Is it something that kind of strikes a chord with you?
No, there is definitely still a stigma. There's a lot of there is a lot of archaic bullshit in the construction industry, really, that needs. I think it'll retire soon enough with the guys that carry it around with them. You know, there's a lot of, you know, mental health things. There's a lot of other things. I'm sure you know what I'm sort of inferring, that that a lot of modern, more enlightened people wouldn't like around on sites and stuff. So I think it's something that we're just slowly working towards. Maybe we can't force this overnight, but like Kev said, it's just, instead of going, morning mate, you're all right, it's, you're okay, you know, you've been late a couple of days, is everything okay at home, or have you been drinking, are you all right? You know, just that next question, whatever it may be, if you spot something that isn't, you know, that isn't the ordinary for a person you may know or work with. So yeah, just the stigma will slowly change and it will slowly disappear. It will get there. It's just a case of being open and honest about it. You know, everyone talks about what brand tools they have, the fact that I have them on my bedside table. You know, where else do they go? But we talk openly about tools and this and that, or cars or vans or whatever. So why not mental health? If I fall off my bike and break my shoulder, I'll talk to anyone about that. So that's bodily health. What about my mental health? You know, I don't see the difference. I'm trying to just break down that barrier and just be an open book on it, because why wouldn't you be?
Yeah, exactly right. Have you guys got anything to add to that as well?
Like, I feel like I've always worked for companies, so I don't really know about the lads who are sole traders working for themselves or limited companies or whatever. But like the guys you work with, you spend more time with than anyone. Like, you know, 40 hours a week with like the same crew. And I don't know if it's me, like my wife would disagree, but like I chat openly to the lads all the time. If there's something bothering me, like I don't bring my shit to work, but you know, if I have an issue, I'll have a chat and we'll sort it out. Like, do you know what I mean? If they have an issue, they'll have a chat and they'll sort it out. It's not always that way, like, but you know, you have to, I suppose you have to take that first step. And, you know, if you divulge something, they might divulge something back. Do you know what I mean? Like there's a few guys I work with that would be kind of very tight-lipped, but you know, I still know a fair bit about them because I keep at them, like, you know, they're probably pissed off with me most of the time, like, but you know, yeah, like in the process of your week, you can probably solve all the world's problems as well, like, you know what I mean? But just that bit of banter, you're spending more time than anyone else with them, so why not know more about them?
Yeah, exactly right. Callum, Dave, did you have anything else that you thought about that?
I feel like, you know, when I first started, was maybe 6 to 7 years ago, it was sort of like that it was a tradition as such to be like, maybe what's the word, like hazed, if you get my, you know, like you get treated like shit as an apprentice to build yourself up to be able to do the work that your boss can do and sort of things like that. And you sort of have to have like a thick skin to you know, accept the sort of, I mean, I don't know if abuse might be a harsh word for it, like, but you know, pretty much, you know, getting like all slabber and it goes on, the name calling and things like that. You know, it might get to people, you know, you sort of do have to kind of just knuckle down and get on with it sometimes, but it's not the right way to be. You know, it's maybe, as Steve said, like we have a great platform in Instagram, where you can see sort of like daily that things are getting better. You know, people treat people with respect. You know, there's a lot of nice comments. There's a lot of positivity on Instagram. That's always good. just when you got Facebook, it's just not that way yet. It's just constant slating. It's just not good. But yeah, I feel like, I don't know, I'm touching on apprentices because I feel like I'm more of an apprentice than all these guys, but it's just, you can't say somebody hasn't got the minerals, you know, it doesn't mean that they're completely useless. You're just not really giving them a chance. And that's going to obviously have an adverse effect on what they're thinking in their head. Like, can I not do this? Or, you know, am I not cut out for this? Or am I going to be able to do anything in my life, sort of thing. So I think maybe giving people the chance to do a bit instead of just brushing up, but you can't obviously trust them that much because they might mess. But yeah, I mean, it's just one of them things, but I think it will get better, as Dave said.
Yeah, Dave, did you have anything to add to that as well?
I think with the trays, there's a lot of machoism attached to it. The giving it the big I am and all that, but it's not. We all shit out the same hole. We all breathe in the same mouth. You know, it's we're all the same person. I mean, there's me who's 6'3". There's bloody someone else who's about 5 foot, but we can still swing a hammer the same way. You know, everyone, we're the same, but we're individual. We just need to accept that people have flaws. I mean, I'll hold my hands up and the lads will back me up on this. I am absolutely dog shit at roofing. I couldn't roof anything. I mean, but I know there's lads out there who couldn't do a second fix the way I do it, or do paneling the way I do it. You know, everyone's got their own skill set. Everyone's got their own niche, and it's about you know, being accepting that people can't do what you can do, but can do what you can do, if that makes sense. You know, I'm sort of chatting shit at the minute, but I hope it makes a bit of sense.
I was thinking, like, everyone respecting what everyone else can do and not dissing someone else because their skill set's different. It's not a bad thing, it's just different.
I think there's that's where Instagram is brilliant. It's I don't go and read all the comments on everyone's posts like Canadian Carpenter, who's got so many followers, but he's a very positive guy. If he's very constructive, if he has anything, you know, criticism to say or any comments, and a lot of comments I see on his, like I said, I don't read all of them, seem to be all kind of positive. You get the odd complete jackass in the middle. Whereas Callum touched on with Facebook, you put a picture up of a door you've swung and the margin's perfect, everything's right. Someone will say you've not dressed the screws. Some dickhead's going to find fault with it. And I don't know why that seems to be.
I hate Facebook so much.
I mean,
It's really bad.
I've been on it for so long now. It's just nonsense. But Instagram is kind of, it seems to be the place where you say something nice or you say nothing at all, you know, and that just seems to be an unwritten rule, which is nice. You get the odd one, but I just seem to get nice comments and nice messages and people asking about hammers, as I clearly have an obsession. But it's great, and it's nice to help people out with a few tips and who sells this and what this and that. You know, it's great. So it's a support community. It's great. It's more than just pictures.
Yeah, I totally
find with the negative comments that most of them, any ones that I've seen anyway, they're not, like, their account isn't even actually carpentry based or something. It's always somebody that doesn't really, you know, somebody that you're not expecting. Like, you'll not get that off somebody that's a carpenter, you know, like the likes of Steve or Dave, you know, they always have something nice to say. All these guys that are giving all these negative comments, they're just
on what Steve.
Oh, sorry, Dave, you cut out. Say that again.
On what Steve just said about the Instagram side of stuff, you know, with people commenting on posts and stuff like that. I'm just wondering as to why I've had no comments.
I always comment.
That, where's my phone?
You did say that nice to say, don't say it at all, though, you know.
Yeah, that's the problem, Kev.
I have to say, I follow a lot of makers on Instagram as well as carpenters, and there's a lot of people out there that do give shit on Instagram. And I think, as Steve was saying, if you don't have that nice to say fuck all. Do you know what I mean? But you don't know how a single comment of, you know, putting someone down is going to affect them. But you also don't know how a single comment of being nice to someone's going to affect them. You could change someone's whole entire day by just saying something nice to them. And you could do the exact same by just saying something bad. Like I've had a few, and I don't know if it's, you don't know if it's because you can't read people's tone of voice when they're writing a message, but I sat there for the day going, what a dickhead, why'd you say that? I mean, you know what I mean? Like it does get, like, as much as I'd like to say it doesn't get to me, it gets to me. Like,
it's so normal.
As my dad used to say, like, manners cost you nothing, so why not have good manners, you know?
Yeah,
we have nice.
I find that we have from the point of view of our customer base, we've got some incredible customers, and they continuously write lovely messages and emails and go out of their way to write amazing reviews, and it makes such a difference. Just reading something that somebody's taken the time to sit down and write is so meaningful. And when someone writes something that's a bit shit, I will generally name and shame them in a story, because I feel like actually, you know, it does, like you say, it does.
You don't name and shame them. You do a full fairy tale.
Full combo.
This is the story of someone who didn't like their hammer.
That made my Christmas.
It does, when someone does say something negative, it does have an impact, and it does make you think. And actually, I don't think they often realise the impact it has. And my hope is that when you make them aware of the impact, they may never do it again. They probably will, but that is a minority. Luckily, I think on Instagram that is a real minority.
Yeah, not if you really shame them the way you do, like.
Send them to the moon, like, see you later.
Cool. Well, I think we've covered some like really interesting points, and hopefully anyone that's been watching this, so it's been useful for you as well, and maybe it's kind of hit a note with you. And you know, whether you have any co-workers or friends or family that need support, or if it's you, then I think the important message is it is okay to not be okay. And if you need to talk to someone, then do reach out. You know, reach out to someone on Instagram. There's also Lighthouse, which is the construction industry helpline. We'll post the details on that below, and also the speakeasy that Kev mentioned. So let's keep checking in with each other. If you'd like to see another chat like this, if you found this then helpful at all, then just give us a shout. And thank you guys for your time this evening. It's been really great.
No problem.
For having us.
Cheers.
Cheers, guys. Thank you.